You ever get into a game and skip the story only to realize you have no idea what's going on and you'll only ever figure out what's happening on a 2 a.m. wiki binge? This is one of those. With these kind of games, I know I go full neuron activation mode and skip most of the dialogue until the first 10 pull, and I know you guys do too. There's no shame, this is a safe space. I'll be real, my main priorities tend to change on a patch cycle, but I've really come to appreciate how deep this lore is. That, and I'm pretty sure that if I tried to explain it without giving any context, it would be like trying to decipher anime hieroglyphics. Is it necessary to know what every character's hobby, birthday, favorite food, yada yada are? Absolutely not, but it helps with self-actualization, makes me feel good. But if we're being honest, like most of these games are carried by cool characters doing cool things, and boy do they do the same stuff here. So you're here because you skipped the story and So before we start this, I have a confession to make. I have not played Honkai Impact 3rd.
You what?
You got me, you got me. My heart was elsewhere at the time and arguably will never leave, okay? So what do we know going into Star Rail? We know that there is a train in space. Honkai. All right, so we've got absolutely zero context. What we do know is that the game opens up with a space station, aha, getting attacked. We've got piece number 1. So we open up with this super cool set piece, everything's blowing up, you got all this stuff going on, you hear some weird music, and then suddenly there is this lady with a violin. She is beautiful. All right, so as we learn a bit, that is Kafka. Apparently, she's part of the reason why the space station is getting attacked. Do we know why? Not really, but we do get to play her in the tutorial, and I mean... You got me, Hoyoverse. You got me again. You do a good job with this. Kafka meets up with this person, a gamer. We got a gamer in space, a space gamer, who apparently can hack reality. Very nice. Okay, right up here with the power scaling, like off rip, we're just right at the top. She meets up with Space Gamer, and they are looking for something. Mind you, this is like the first 10 minutes of the game. Looking for something called the cancer of all worlds. The cancer of all worlds. In big letters, it's the cancer of all worlds. For what reason are we opening with this? I have no clue. So this is kind of like a heist movie where like everything is predetermined. They're talking like they're on a script, they got timers. It's like, oh, this wasn't in the script. We gotta go here. Uh-oh, they're behind me, aren't they? I mean, like not that last part, you get the gist of it. It's kind of like one of those movies. So Kafka goes to get Space Gamer to reality hack the Matrix, kind of, to find, and I repeat, the cancer of all worlds, okay? So they actually do manage to find this Stellaron, as I will call it now, and Kafka has such heavy pretty privilege that she can pick it up like it's nothing. She's throwing that thing around like a basketball. It doesn't matter to her. All right, so now they have the malevolent orb, and they start talking about a receptacle, as if they're gonna like really hit their 3 R's today. Turns out, we are the receptacle. So Kafka just grabs this orb, the Stellaron, and just shoves it all the way in there. So we're waking up from this after just having this orb shoved directly into our chest after manifesting from thin air. And she's kind of checking in with us. She's up real close, and she just straight up ditches us as if we're a kid whose soccer practice cut into Margarita Monday. I mean, she just absolutely ghosts and leaves us there passed out. She actually says, someone will find you.
Don't worry, someone will come and find you very soon.
And they do. We are found by somebody who tries to give us CPR. Believable, Don Hung. Yeah, I see you. I got my eye on you. So now we meet Don Hung and March 7th, who are our best friends. These are our best buddies, the best friends anybody could ask for. So we've been awake for all of 5 minutes, and now they're telling us the station's under attack. We got to get you safe. We got to run to meet up with everybody else. You got to defend yourself. So we have Amnesia, number 1, and number 2 are now being asked to fight these things that we have no idea or context for what they are. So we just managed to find a baseball bat laying around, or what looks like a baseball bat. Turns out the second we pick it up, it's got the whole bone of my sword thing going on, and it's pretty rad. So off the bat, we're pretty set. Like, we got the baseball bat. Rules are made to be broken. We don't need a sword. We're not a sword user. Get that out of here. We are a physical trailblazer with the big ass train behind us. That's what we like. So we're headed back to figure everything out. We meet this one kid who got like real badly messed up trying to protect people, but honestly, he's like 4'0" on a good day, so I doubt he even made a dent in any one of these things. We meet up back with totally CPR, and we gotta get to the hub area where everybody's waiting for us. So right as we're making it across the bridge, immediately get sniped out by a horse. So we fight the space horse real quick because that's a big guy. We got the injured kid with us. And as things are looking super grim, he starts to just pop friends out of nowhere. We are saved by a single drone who is owned by another reason to play this game. This is Himiko. She's kind of one of the leaders of this little group. She's the navigator of the Astral Express, which is the space train. We're finally going to get to see the train. She's got a lot going on, but here she kind of casually drops that, yeah, I would have used my orbital cannon if it wouldn't have messed up the space station and would piss off Herta. So we've got universe hacking and an orbital cannon. Solid. So Himiko lays that on us, and now we've got to go talk to lead researcher Asta, who's just spitting out so many sci-fi buzzwords you'd think she's doing a Star Trek roleplay. So once Asta's done barking commands, she lets us know that she's in charge right now because Herta's away. And this is like the third or fourth time Herta's been name dropped. And who is she? She's going to come to the rescue, right? No, actually. She could not care less if the whole place burnt and everybody died. Everybody here is here to see Herta and like to be around her. No, she does not care. This is kind of like a storage unit for her stuff. She thinks she finds some cool stuff and she leaves it there. And that's it. That's about the most it gets. So, Stellar, we don't know where the hell she is. Himiko's like, well, I have a rare item, so maybe she'll actually answer my text message because I have a way to bait her. So off the bat, we have a ton of characters already. We've got like a good handful of characters. Some of them I'm barely even naming. So we're going to get back to the whole Herta thing later. So after this whole exchange, Asta's like, you got to check on these scientists and the kid because the kid's messed up and the scientists are scared and the station is getting messed up. So all right, we go do our little fetch quest. We come back. And on the screen is this massive monster just like reaching its grubby little hand into the force field. So we gotta go get the train before the monster hits the train. So now we're booking it to where the train is, and Dan Heng decides to enlighten us with the information that that thing is called a Doomsday Beast. And it is a planet destroyer. To that, Himiko responds,
as long as the Lord Ravager doesn't intervene, there should be no problems.
What? Okay, we're getting like 30 different titles now, and we know barely anything of what any of them mean. Real quick, we're gonna go fight a Doomsday Beast, but we're good, we're fine, because there is no Lord Ravager that apparently ranks above a planet destroyer. Awesome. So where is the scale at this point? I'm not sure where the tier list goes on all these dudes. On top of all of this, more highlighted words.
Either way, the Legion has the blessing of the Aeon Nanook.
Huh?
Sweet, cool. That's a lot of buzzwords. We're going to circle back to that, set a GCal invite to about 15-20 minutes from now. So normally the Astral Express crew would not be leaving from a situation like this. They'd probably be handling it somehow. But apparently this time, the station's in actual trouble, and they need to take us, because we're important.
He's the one who can help us turn the tides. Of course, I may be wrong.
Masterful gambit. Even the two dudes that we've known for all of like 20 minutes are like, what the hell are you talking about?
He's that important? As you say so.
Ma'am, might I remind you, we are currently fighting with a Louisville Slugger and a Dream, okay? And you want us to take on a planet destroyer? Because we can turn the tables. So now, apparently, the plan is to rush to the train and meet up with one Mr. Welt Yang. Oh. I think I hear Honkai Impact 3rd fans. Okay, so they're still around. Sweet. So we get to the platform, and March decides I'm gonna run ahead, and ruh-roh, Raggy, the Doomsday Beast, right on cue. In response to seeing Doomsday Beast, the Planet Destroyer, March decides to square up, pulls back her bow, and is like, alright, Paradox Necrozma, let's go. Let me say, for a first major boss, this thing is really, really sick. It's got like total Final Fantasy, like cosmic horror kind of vibes, and you gotta wail on it for a while, like for a good minute. Turns out a baseball bat is enough, because at the end of the day, we end up smacking it like a Wii Sports home run.
It's out of the park!
So we wail on him for quite a bit, and now the fight's over, we're all pooped, and big guy over here tries to use light that burns the sky because he is not letting March slide for that first comment. In true main character fashion, we jump in front of the beam for March and get knocked into the spirit realm, or something, or in our mind, or whatever. Because now we're just floating through a sea of memories and all this stuff that begins to make us glow with the power of the orb. Main character powers, activate. So after exploding with the power of like 1,000 suns, Magic Man over here floats up and bonks us in the head. So after that mess, we wake up somewhere, and apparently everything's all good. March lets us know that we totally wiped the Doomsday Beast, and now everything is chill. So she's gonna peace out, and we gotta go find Himiko. So we find Himiko, and she lets us know that Herta conveniently is showing up right now. So now we meet this little girl. I mean, actually a puppet. So Herta, the puppet doll thing, is not even like really here. She's talking to us through the puppet because she's so smart. She's in the Genius Society. So obviously she should know about the Stellaron. Like, she should know what it is, right? She info dumps a bunch of other stuff, and we just learned that she's a dick. So she wants us to stay at the station just until she finishes researching the Stellaron, or until she gets bored. Great. I think we'll go with the nice train people then, thanks. Before we can join the train, she needs us to help her with a project. And this is an extensive one. So honestly, a perfect opportunity for me to unpack some of the keywords for you with extensive B-roll in the background, because it's a bit of a doozy. So we'll start with Herta, she's like the most recent one. The Genius Society is absolutely no joke. Like, Galaxy Brain does not begin to cover how smart these dudes are from the Genius Society. Like, there are only maybe 80 of them total in the universe. There are very specific criteria. This little project that we're helping out with, it's an entire universe. She came up with like 2 other dudes who are also in the Genius Society. They made a universe whole to study these things called aeons. Aeons. Keyword number 2, what are they? Aeons are kind of like gods, like they're up there with gods, but not exactly, because they can still die. They are higher dimensional beings that kind of rule over a concept, right? So this concept is better known as a path, and the path is like everything under the concept, right? So eons can never break or deviate from that path once they are an eon. We've already heard of Nanook, the destruction, right? This dude just wants to see everything burnt. Just wants to destroy everything. There are dozens of eons, and they all control different things, like drastically different. This is just one of them. Now, if these things are kind of gods, but not really gods, like, do they interact with people or the universe at all? Yes, kind of. So they show up for certain events, and they can communicate with people in very specific cases that change depending on the eon, because they also have their own personalities. One of them, probably my favorite, is Aha, the eon of elation. So joy, jokes, being happy, all this. Decided it would be funny if he gave all of the power in his path to a worm. So he gave like the entire power, like godlike power that he could bestow on a thing, and he just put it into a worm because he wanted to see what happened. And he got bored, and he took the power away, and the worm exploded, effectively. So some people are just stronger than others because they have a better link with their Aeon, because the Aeon actually gave them the power. And a great example of this is the Lord Ravagers, which is the crazy name that we heard earlier. Those are the emanators of the destruction guy, Nanook. So Aeons might be super powered, godlike beings that are a dimension above and can do whatever the hell they want in whatever specific terms. But if you hit enough checkboxes for like a specific thing that just doesn't have a path yet, you can be an Aeon. So one of the best examples of this is Noose, the Aeon of erudition, being smart, right? Noose is a supercomputer. So there was a dude one day who just built a computer so crazy it did all the calculations and calculated itself into godhood. Noose is also the Aeon that is responsible for the Genius Society. So if Noose Senpai notices you, bada bing, bada boom, you're probably really damn smart, and there you go, you got your badge in the club. So we're all caught up now, right? Great, awesome. That's gonna be on the midterm. So we're gonna finish up with the simulated universe and all of this B-roll because it takes ages to complete, and we finally get to ride on the train.
The way to celebrate.
Let's go.
I'll be waiting.
Time to get on.
Till we make it. Oh, we will see.
I'm over here.
So we finally get onto the train and we get introduced to Pom Pom. He's just a little guy, just a little dude, and he's got a little hat on, and he's the conductor. Ain't that cute, this little guy? All right, I'm sure you are, buddy. He waddles around and tells us, prepare for the warp. So we gotta sit down and prepare for whatever the train is gonna do to go to the next place it goes to, because we have not even been briefed on that. So to reiterate, we've been awake for a few hours, have amnesia, and are now riding a space train to God knows where. So our dude just starts zoning out. In the middle of our little mental excursion, March drops in and she's like, hey, forgot to tell you, they found me in a block of ice in space. And I also have amnesia, so twinsies. You wanna know why they called me March 7th? Oh, sure, March, why don't you tell us? They found me on March 7th. It was easy. Now that it's done, we finally get to warp. We finally get to actually ride the train. Maybe now we have two pieces. Do we learn what a Honkai is? So the train hits maximum overdrive and drops us by a totally frozen planet because apparently there is an anomaly that is stopping us from moving. Who else but Stellaron? Turns out, even though we don't know much about them, a Stellaron kind of just fucks up everything around it. It will just mess up the environment, the civilizations, the people. Everything just goes to pot when a Stellaron shows up. Between this conversation, we learn the Stellaron is probably why the planet is a popsicle. So now we are an official train rider, and that means we have to earn our lunch. So they are sending us down to the frozen planet to figure out what the hell is going on and to fix it. With what tools? With a baseball bat and some gumption. Awesome. So we're doing all of this just to get the Stellaron out of there, to neutralize it, which they cannot do with ours apparently because we are stable, and save the planet, get the train unstuck, continue along our merry way. So begins the first proper trailblazing adventure. So this was just the prologue, and they're pulling out all the stops. The scale's up here, things are just balls to the wall crazy already, and they kind of only continue to scale up in terms of spectacle, in terms of scale and everything. It's really cool. I especially like the way the power system and the world building are done because it only gets larger, and over the scale of an entire galaxy, it's wild to see things kind of tie together. Even if you're just reading a little lore book, you're like, oh, it's that guy. I know him. So it's one of those where it's really, really cool to get into the nitty gritty, but the overall cool characters doing cool things still applies. So Belobog's next up, and that is a bit of a doozy. So just let me know what you thought of this one. Give me some real honest feedback, and I will get back to you with Belobog sometime. Great. Have an awesome day.